Update.
Hey everyone, it's been a few weeks,
with bronchitis since
7
I've done one
days
of these
before
videos.
my surgery.
The last video
and
I
ended
did
up having
was
to get
my surgery
rescheduled. So I had surgery on the 25th of April, and this has really been the first time I've felt up to doing one of these videos. Basically, I just wanted to continue talking about the experience and what you can expect. So, I know I'm pretty broken out right now, and I'm fighting that, and I've just been a mess. I didn't bother putting makeup on because really it just hurts too much to do. So, I think it's been 3 weeks, getting ready to go on 4 since the surgery, and I woke up, so when I went to go in for the surgery and they were drawing on me and talking about how much they were taking off, the doctor said something about at least 2 pounds, and I'm like, that's not enough. I want you to take more than that. I could be a bee for all I care. So they drew all over me and basically said, you know, we're taking all of this past the line completely off, and they were going to shape what's left to make, you know, basically my new boobs. So, going into the surgery, I was pretty scared at that point. I don't know. Doctors just kind of scare me. So, I was a little bit freaked out, but I figured it would be alright. You know, I've waited all this time for the surgery. I'm not going to chicken out now. I'm just going to get it done. So, I woke up at some point in the recovery room, which was just basically a bed with a sheet around it, like a curtain, separating me from other patients. And I was pretty out of it. I don't really remember much. They kept offering me pain meds and something to drink, which the drink I took, the pain meds I didn't. But I just pretty much slept. After that, I was in and out of it. I stayed awake for maybe 10 minutes, if that, and I was in and out of it, and it was only because they said I had to wake up a little bit before they would move me to an actual room. So I stayed awake long enough for that, and then I don't remember actually being moved from the recovery area to a room. So my surgery was at about 10 a.m. and I don't really remember much of anything. I didn't even get on my phone until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is finally when I woke up enough to, you know, get my phone and turn it on. And at that point, everybody had been panicking because the old man had lost the number to my friend who he was supposed to let know so she could tag me on Facebook. So my family and everybody had basically blown up my Facebook account, you know, sending me messages and posts on my walls, you know, that they wanted to know that I was okay. During this time, though, when I skipped, was they actually came and told the old man that I was out of surgery, and that they would bring him back in about 15 minutes to see me. And he actually ended up sitting out there for over an hour at that point, and started to get worried. So, but they finally brought him back, and I guess it was just because I was completely out of it. And I'm not sure exactly what caused that. I got on Facebook enough to post that I was alive. I was still extremely tired at that point, so I put the phone on the table and went back to sleep. And the first day was pretty much that for most of the day. Just them coming in, checking on me, getting me to drink something, asking me for pain pills, and really, I didn't have any pain at all the first day. And I did end up staying overnight at the surgery place, and it's kind of weird. It's a place where they actually just do surgeries. It's not a hospital. So I ended up being the only patient there that actually stayed overnight. So they actually had to keep the place staffed just because of me. But at one point, the old man had left to let Fuzzy out. And at some point he brought me food too, and I ate that and then went back to sleep. But the nurses actually came and got me out of bed and asked if I wanted to take a walk around the building, which at that point, you know, I wasn't feeling any pain. So I was up and out of the bed, and I kind of shocked them on how quickly I was getting around without really help. I mean, they kept a hold of me, but I wasn't like teetering like they expected. So I forgot to mention that they did remove 14 pounds from my chest. And, you know, it's a big difference. So I was up and around, moving really well. I was sweating like crazy though. The bed they had me in, I guess, was like memory foam or something. I don't know, but whatever it was, I basically had sweat pouring down my back the whole time because I was so hot. And they actually ended up putting a fan in the room on me, and the air turned down. So when the old man came back, he was freezing. And the only reason why he originally left was to let the dog out because he thought he was going to work. Well, he ended up off that night. So he ended up just coming back to the hospital and then staying the night after making sure the dog had his medication and everything. So I went home early the next morning. I would say it was about 9 o'clock in the morning. I thought the doctor was going to come see me and talk to me about the surgery and what was done and stuff, but it didn't happen. So basically, they took off 14 pounds off of my chest. I also had the part here taken care of as well. So let me see if I can get this in camera. They actually cut me from back here all the way basically to my back, like here, all the way across and back as far as they could reach on the other side. So I basically have this huge spot all the way around, and riding in the car was miserable. I knew I had staples, and I had staples all the way around, and during my surgery they did what's called an anchor cut, and that is when they actually cut around the nipple and remove it, and then they cut down and then under, and then they do that on both sides, and it's all the way across. And then they did the sides too. So I had staples all the way across and all the way around the nipple. I originally planned to sleep on the couch. It didn't work out exactly as I planned because I couldn't use my arms at all. Like I can do this, But I couldn't push, pull, be pulled, or lift anything. So getting up and down, I had to use basically my legs. That's it. And maybe stomach muscles. I don't know. So lots of squats and lots of sit-ups is how I've had to get up and down off of couches. And we got our new bed delivered as well about a week and a half. Yeah, a week after surgery, because it got delivered Monday before I went back for my follow-up. So I had a lot of problems with that. I originally propped myself so I was actually sleeping like I'm sitting right now, where I'm completely sitting up. And I mean, I didn't really have a place to put my feet up, so my feet ended up swelling pretty bad. So I tried at that point sleeping kind of sideways. So I kind of moved to this spot instead of over there on the chase. And keeping one foot up on the couch and then one on the coffee table, which is not that comfortable. So that helped take the swelling down. But another problem that I had was the surgery bra that they sent me home in was so tight. I mean, it was cutting into me right here on the back of my arm. I actually still have a spot there that's very, very sensitive. It was rubbing my arm completely raw to the point that it was a dark purple, and they told me not to take this bra off because I had the tubes and the drains, and those drains are not fun at all. I thought originally when I first woke up that was the worst part of the whole thing. So you've got these two drains coming out of you, and they've got these long cords, so you have to be careful not to get these caught on anything. So I just pretty much had them tucked inside the shirt the whole time. But these drains hook onto the bra that they give you with safety pins, which if you're not careful you're going to get poked. But then these things gather fluid out of your chest. I don't really know the technical term, sorry about that, but it pulls fluid like blood clots and stuff. It's basically to prevent you from getting a blood clot, is what I've heard. But when these things are being drained, I couldn't do it. The old man had to take care of me because, you know, I have a weak stomach. So for me, just looking at it would make me sick. So they have to open these things up and drain them. Now, most doctors make you measure them. My doctor did not. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. I mean, whenever I went to pre-op, they told me that there was going to be a sheet for us to fill out and all that stuff. They didn't have me do any of that. So I don't know. But when these things are being drained, you can feel it. Like, I could feel it tugging. Not the tube itself, but like the pressure from the bulbs being drained. And it's like this uncomfortable feeling, like it was horrible. So I thought that was going to be the worst part, but I was wrong. So I was hoping at that point that the follow-up appointment the Tuesday after was going to be the removal of the tubes. Now, most days I can make it to about, getting up at about 7 or 8 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I was in and out of it so much. Like, just doing the smallest things, I would pass out for 30-40 minutes after, or sometimes even a few hours. So it really just depended on how I felt. So I was pretty much awake super early because I just couldn't sleep. I would wake up and go back to sleep and wake up and go back to sleep. The first week, I would say the longest that I slept was for about 3 hours straight. So that was pretty hard on me. So I went to the doctors expecting to only have these tubes removed. I didn't expect anything else. It never even dawned on me to take a pain pill or two, because it did actually say on the bottle to take 2, but I was only taking 1 when I was taking them. So I didn't take anything before I went into the appointment. And we live too far away. I mean, it takes like 15 minutes to 30 minutes depending on traffic to get from my house to the hospital. So it wasn't like we could turn around and come back and then go back again. So no pain pills at all. And they pull these tubes out, and it was quick, but it hurt like crazy. So I thought at that point they were done, and then they tell me they're gonna remove the staples. So I've got no pain pills, no numbing, no nothing, just they're gonna pull these staples out. And I've never had stitches or staples before this surgery in my life, so I didn't have anything to drink. I didn't have anything. I hadn't even eaten that day because I hadn't felt up to it. So it was already a bad day to begin with. So they basically start all the way back on the side, and they're taking them out. And I would say from back here to maybe here, they had to stop because I was getting ready to pass out. I felt like I was gonna puke or faint or both. And I knew neither of those would be a good thing to do. So they had to stop. And at this point, I feel like my blood sugar just plummeted. Like I was about to faint. So the old man went to the cafe downstairs to get me a strawberry smoothie, to try to help me through it. So we wait 10 minutes and he's not back. And so at that point I'm feeling not good, but I'm not feeling like I'm gonna immediately pass out at this point. So we start again, and at that point we get to about here, and then we have to stop again because at that point I'm worn out again. And he comes up finally, because it takes them a bit, because they actually make everything fresh by hand. But that helped, I don't know, I guess re-energize me, I guess is a way I can say it. I mean, it took several stops to get through all of them, because I would start to get weak, and then I would have to take a drink, breathe, and then we would start again. I would say the staple removal process was the worst thing out of everything. Had I taken a pain pill or two before going into the doctor's office, I probably wouldn't have felt much of it at all. or even had any pain. So they get all the staples removed, and at the time, you know, I'm like, I don't want to know numbers because that's just gonna make this worse. So the old man originally said he thought it was about 150 to 200 staples because it's like super close together, kind of like that, all the way around me. But he said about an hour later that he thinks really it may have been closer to 300 staples. So I had all of that removed with no pain medication. I mean, I made it through, but afterwards I hurt so bad. All I wanted to do was go home and go to bed. They took the surgery bra off of me whenever they went to remove the staples and the tubes. And I guess my doctor wasn't one that had you bring your own surgery bra. They provided your surgery bra. Most doctors have you go buy it beforehand and bring it with you. My doctor's office actually just had their own. As I had said, the thing had been cutting into me. It also rolled up in the back and then at some point in the front as well, right along my line of stitches and staples. We had called the doctor because I was hurting so bad, and they told us, you know, originally not to mess with it. And they told us to cut the band in the back to try to help lessen some of the pressure. But I went through most of a week with this bra like this because, you know, I didn't expect that there was anything we could do. I didn't want to mess anything up. So we cut the bra, and that got it enough where I could make it through to that Tuesday when they removed the staples. But in the appointment, they're like, okay, you can get dressed now. You can go home. And of course, you know, I'm not pouring blood, but I'm bleeding from all these little staple holes. And we couldn't get the surgery bra back on me. This bra was just a white bra, and the straps velcroed right here so you could take them off and pull the front down. And then it velcroed in the front. So we tried to put me in it, but I was in so much pain at that point, we couldn't get it back on. And I tried to find, I don't know where it is, but it's got like 6 or 7 cuts in the back where we tried to, one, loosen up the pressure on me, and then at that point we'd only cut like 4. And then they cut more cuts into it, trying to get it on me after having the staples removed. So I'm sitting there expecting, because I've heard all these things about how you have to keep the surgery bra on. And they tell me to not bother to even putting it back on, to do it later. Which I'm thinking, if I can't do it now, I'm not going to be able to do it later. So I put my shirt on without a bra at this point, and we leave, and I go home, and at this point I take the pain pills, and I went to sleep for most of the rest of the day. To them, I couldn't read, I couldn't stand really to hold my phone. I mean, every time I moved, I hurt. Getting up and down hurt. I wasn't able to do anything for myself at all. Couldn't use the bathroom by myself, couldn't shower. Wasn't allowed to shower at all at that point until after the staples came out. I'm kind of just rambling at this point. A lot more mental than people let you know. It's a lot more than what I expected.